Gosh.
Hi.
Well,
Sorry.
being
audience.
recorded, right?
All right, we ready? Are we in there? Okay. So welcome for the Town of Ulysses Comp Plan Steering Committee meeting for today, September 3rd, 2025. Our first order of business is roll call. We always go this way, so let's go this way.
Oh.
Skip busy.
Liz Weatherby, town board member.
Allison Weaver, Comprehensive Planning Steering Committee.
Kayla Knowles, town supervisor.
More comprehensive and BZA.
No, blind planning board.
Power Funkowski, Planning Board and Comp Plan.
And I'm Ann DePetta, and I'm a community member on this committee and also the chair. Oh yeah, Roxanne.
Hi, Roxanne Marino, Conservation Sustainability Advisory Council. I can't see any of you, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just letting you know
We're
if
having some
anybody else
technical
comes on and
difficulties.
wants to be able to see you, they can't. Anyway. Hello.
You. Is there anybody? I mean, wait for Zoom. Or do you want me to keep going? Yeah. Right. Do we wait for the Zoom to get up, or do we want to move forward?
We can at least go through the agenda. I don't think we should start the public hearing.
All right, Roxanne, hopefully you can hear us at least, and whoever else is up on there, I can't see
Sign language.
names, but okay, so let's go on to the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
And is there any discussion or amendments?
None for me.
So Niels mentioned earlier to me that maybe we could move the item number 3, which is the approval of past minutes, to the end of the meeting, and also the privilege of the floor to just after the public hearing, so that we can go, address the public hearing first, and then we'll do the privilege of the floor in the next meeting and approval of past minutes at the end.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, any other amendments or changes or? Okay, so I think we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do I have to ask if people opposed? Any opposed? Any objections? Okay. Our first order of business is the beginning of the public hearing. Can you see us now, Roxanne? Okay, great.
Yes.
And Julian. So our first order of business is the beginning of the public hearings. This is on the draft chapters of the comp plan. Tonight we'll be taking public comments on 3 drafts: housing, economic development, and built environment. Before we open the meeting, Karen, do you want to say who you are and just?
Hi, I'm Karen Metter. I'm a member of this committee, and I also serve on the board of zoning appeals.
Great, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
So do we have a motion to open the public meeting?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Liz. Second,
I'll second it.
Carl, all in favor?
Aye. No.
Okay, so public comments are limited to 3 minutes in length. We will alternate from members in the room to members on Zoom. Yeah, we'll just happy to hear from anyone in the audience. Anyone here in the room want to say anything during the public comment period?
I do, but I'm not necessarily wanting to go first, but I will if no one else is.
Anybody else want to go first? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, you're up. Sorry. I think so.
My name is Cheryl Thompson. I'm here as a resident. I'm also on BZA, and I'm an architect and a builder and a homeowner planner in the town of Ulysses. Mainly, I'm here to try to put in my 2 cents to a cluster sort of housing thing, very possible, maybe expand those possibilities. I've been calling in and messaging in various ways about that. I think it's important. And there's not a lot going on that's great right now, but I think there are a lot of possibilities in that area other than, so what I'm talking about, penal cluster as is divided in the zoning, where it's like someone owns a lot of land, keeps it open, and then takes that many houses and puts it in a small area to keep the development contained or not sprawling. And I do like that idea, but I guess I'm coming at it more from the people who live there standpoint right now, and maybe who own that, and how does that operate? Like, could it be like a condo or like a trailer park situation, but permanent little residences where people own the building somehow, and someone else owns the land, and they share septic, they share a driveway. I'm really looking at it for just kind of a not low income, but affordable housing scenario that is also still privately owned or individual, not a multifamily building. So like small, I'm picturing small little units that share land and do make better use of the land that way, but also provide a little bit of community, a little bit of sharing, or a lot of sharing resources actually, to make it more affordable for people to live rurally who are interested and feel the need to be out of town, but still need some companionship or community or help. I'm kind of thinking residential, retirement.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you have some 8 retirees that are all kind of helping each other out, sharing expenses. You have a few couples, that's more of a traditional cluster housing sort of thing, where they own, I don't know. There's a lot of, I don't have any particular model in mind, but I think if we could have any sort of thing, like a broad thing in the comprehensive plan that allows for options, then we could work on that for zoning or something. Or it could just be worked on as someone comes up with an idea and brings it to the planning board.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on page 7, you do have something that encourages cluster housing. And I don't know if I didn't understand or if it's not written clearly, but I think you generally are trying to encourage it. So I like that. I do have one other comment. I don't know. Does anyone have any questions about what I'm trying to say, or am I getting it across there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe a land trust model or something like that. Sounds like you have cooperative ownership of the land and then individual
maybe,
units.
Yeah, but options, because maybe one person can afford to own the land and other people can't, and they own. I just saw something in the New York Times where a bunch of women retired together. That one person bought the land and then they each built like a little tiny house.
Mm-hmm.
I read that. Yeah, and so that I've been thinking about that kind of thing for a long time, but it's nice to have it like shown in that format.
So I have to let you know your 3 minutes is probably up.
Okay.
I don't really know what we do at that point,
Okay,
but
that's
just
fine.
letting you know.
I'm pretty much done.
Okay.
You always can provide comments, written comments into Neil's or any of them,
Thank you.
us, the
Yeah.
town board.
Thank you for that. We discuss and respond.
Go
Okay.
on.
Thank you for that. Anyone else, anyone on Zoom or anyone in the room want to Add anything to the public comment period? How much time do I give the audience to jump in?
Say last call.
Okay. Last call for making a public comment. There's other ways to communicate with us if that's more comfortable. So I think we're done with the public comment period. So we just need a motion to table the public hearing until our next meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So now we're getting to our regular meeting. Okay.
I guess before Niels, when do we have the second public hearing scheduled for?
To be further fleshed out today, but the tentatively should be the 24th. There's a conflict on the 17th.
So September 24th.
Correct.
And Ty, we need to have you do roll call.
Good evening, Ty Basilius, committee member.
Thank you. Okay, so next is privilege of the floor. So this is pretty similar to what we just did. This is the portion of the committee meeting where members of the public can make general comments on items that are not related to our agenda tonight. Those comments are limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience, either in the room or on Zoom, that would like to address the board during this period? Okay, I think that means no.
Can I go again?
Oh, there, yes, come on up.
I'm not sure this is the right place to do this, but I'm a little concerned about the wetlands requirements, like that we found out about recently during the zoning meeting, that people will have kind of unfair amount of expense put on them when they're trying to create or to buy a lot, make a house. They have to do a lot of studies to find out if there's wetlands on their properties, and there's a lot of different maps about wetlands and that kind of thing. And I just worry that that kind of thing, adding more fees and more tests, is problematic for homeowners and developers, and the public should not have to bear that. And I'm wondering if we could make space for that for the town to somehow pay for those things.
Ooh, that's expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah,
As a state law requiring it,
yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, there's already a pretty hefty permitting fee, and I know that won't cover that, but I think that would be something to work towards if we ever have budget for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any other comments?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mo. Do we have a second?
I will second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, next is our last preliminary review of the transportation element. We'd like to introduce Jessica and actually have you maybe introduce yourself, or and we've got about 10 minutes, I think, for this section.
Hi everybody, Jessica Hemmer Beaker. The last time we spoke, there was discussion on shrinking the transportation element. I believe Angelina did ask to kind of highlight those areas that we wanted taken out. Because Eric is, in Rochester, it would be good if we could put that specifically in the last updated draft that we have. That way, we flesh out that way, he knows what needs to be taken out and what does not, or what should be there. And so, just wanted to hear what you guys were thinking for this element.
So this is the new one, right?
Yep,
That's
so
the
it should be the August 2025, whatever the newest month is.
Right.
Or latest.
I I think one of the comments that we had was it was excessively long with lots of maps. It kind of took away from some of the intent of the descriptions of what we're proposing to do and the policies and so forth. Did folks get a chance to take a look at the revised version? Roxanne has a question.
Yes, go ahead, Roxanne.
Just related to that, where is the revised version? It's when I look in the folder, transportation, August 2025 revisions, I see an August 19 dated Word doc and an August 14 dated PDF. So is there, it sounds like there should be something more new than that because comments came in after that.
I think it's
So what document are we talking about?
It's the August 19th last revised Word version in the folder.
So in response to anything that was sent in after that, there was no response made to anything after the 19th? Which is when some people I wrote and others and said that maybe there were still a lot of maps and it wasn't quite getting to the point to where we had agreed at the other meeting, so.
And I think Jessica's just reminding us that we still have to go back and do that. Right?
Okay.
So if there are specific particular sections, I think this has been consolidated a little bit. But if there's room for more, and we have to make sure we go in and highlight what sections we want deleted or condensed or removed or whatever it might be. Shifted to an appendix. Right now it's 33 pages long.
So I don't know if I told everybody this, but I was at a conference all last week. So I didn't get a chance to see anything that was out last week. So I'm just comparing those two, but hopefully other people had a chance to do that.
Well, I missed last meeting, so I wasn't sure what you guys wanted to cut per se, but I read through this. It is long and the maps do get a little cumbersome. I do think it's helpful that you have all the information in there from the county planning and the ITCTC because it's big and they've got a lot of initiatives that are out there. Because I think that that's one of the things we struggle with here is public transportation. So I actually thought it was a pretty good read. And I think it's helpful to see the information about people talking about how safe they feel on the paths. So I thought there was some good stuff. I mean, a little dark when it gets to the fatality section. You know, I understand there's a purpose for it. I don't necessarily know if it is needs to be in there, but I personally don't know what else you guys were looking to cut out. Unless it was just the extra maps.
I think some of the maps are not necessarily focused on the town of Ulysses. They're more focused on the greater Ithaca area, which is definitely where a lot of the people in the town work or commute to or go for a variety of different reasons.
So
Was
is that
it
what you guys
too
are-
much more focused on like the Ithaca area and less on the rest? So was there like a way we could either merge maps or shrink them?
I think if you shrink them, they're gonna be hard.
Yeah, I don't mean shrink them, I meant zoom in.
Gotcha.
Focus
Yeah, no, I think
on the town.
honestly, when I read through it, I just kind of scrolled through the maps. I didn't really spend a lot of time on them, to be totally honest, because that's when I'm reading it, I'm looking for different information. And so if that was, I was wondering if that's what you guys were looking.
And there was a discussion about moving the maps to like an appendix portion,
Yeah.
correct? Of like adding them at the end
That's
as a
great
reference
idea.
point of reference. I want it. That I remember.
Not totally disregarding all of the maps, but yeah.
Having them
Moving on
accessible
to
if
that
people
section.
wanna look at them. but-
I actually got drawn in.
Yeah, it's something
Collision
too.
map.
Yeah.
I was like looking, it's like, all right, where am I? It
So,
was kind
Yeah.
of informative.
I would recommend pulling out the county ones, there's one on page, pulling out and putting in the appendix, like the one on 13, page 13, the one on 17. Those are very much larger regional maps. There's another one, the 11. I think those are the kind to put into an appendices, but I think the ones that are specifically for, that have been created for Ulysses, I think it's really helpful to have that because I think if you look at the rates of people who actually go back and review those maps and cross-reference it, it's work
It
to
is.
do and
It is.
very hard to do
I
on an electronic document.
Yeah.
So having it there electronically, when we're not gonna be handing out paper versions of this,
Right.
Yeah.
like,
Unless we want to do hyperlinks to it.
Right.
Which we probably don't.
no, and I just think, so my recommendation is I would prefer to err on the side of more maps and do what you do, because if you're not interested in the maps, you just keep scrolling.
Let me be very clear, you just said in public, I'm not interested in that, just kidding, no, I'm like, I am very interested.
Well,
in
no,
that.
and
I get you, I get what
when
you're
I
saying.
meant in your reading, yes,
No,
I was not suggesting you were just, dispersing the value of the
No, I'm sorry, it was just an internal joke, the GIS is part of my team for the county, so I was like, if they hear that, I'm gonna do work tomorrow.
We get to do these maps, so
Right.
more maps, I'm sure you're very
Right.
interested in.
So I think that if they could be pulled and put as an appendix, I think that that's a great idea, just to make it an easier read. I think that I sort of noticed that theme, like when I was voting on the pictures too, I did the same thing. I intentionally excluded pictures that I didn't recognize as being in Ulysses, like the businesses,
Yeah.
that were Ithaca businesses, I intentionally excluded those because I want the focus to be on
Yeah.
Ulysses. So I think that that's a valid point, with the county-wide stuff. And we can add new references. We just totally redid the Trails website. It's not live yet, but it's gonna be amazing. So we can offer references to that to get people like that wanna see the trails and stuff like that. It's,
Do we need figure 11 and 14? Figure 11 is the collision severity. And 14 is the collision type. Whether it was a collection, what caused the collision?
is that the diagram with the like fatalities? Is that the one? Oh, that map, okay, sorry.
On page
23, yeah. I think there is a point to the safety component, and unfortunately, we do have some roads that are not the safest. So we need to in them.
And what about some specific intersections? I mean, there are a few, like I drive through where I just worry the visibility is so poor. We really need a four-way stop or a stoplight or something.
Yeah.
So are we hoping to shape those kind of things with this document? Because, I mean, I live right by Perry City, right? Perry City and 96 is notoriously a horrible intersection. But I didn't see the comp plan being a driving factor for making a change there. But are you saying that that's an option? It could be a driving factor for that?
That's a real loaded one because so much of these are actually controlled by DOT.
That's what I thought.
And they come in to do assessments. We could, the way it works procedurally is that property owners who have a concern submit a petition, the town board reviews it, the highway superintendent reviews it, and the town board acts as the county for consideration. The county also agrees and it gets piped up to DOT.
So for us putting in here, the value is what? Is what I'm getting at. I'm trying to understand that.
So we can't control speeds. We cannot control putting in like the light fixtures that went into 96. Like basically anything on the 96 corridor, we're not gonna be able to touch without DOT approval. 89, yeah. And a chunk of the roads are county roads. So a lot of the big roads are county roads, so we can't touch those without permission either in a lot of cases. But what we did find in working with our town attorney is that the town actually does possess a fair amount of control over traffic calming measures. We have some ability to put stop signs in on roads that are town-owned, things like that. So, but it really depends on the road, and not all roads are the same ownership, and we don't have the same rights. So my recommendation would be, my personal recommendation would be, I don't think we're gonna solve every dangerous intersection in the town at this level. I think what we really need is a systematic, if an objective could be a systematic look at intersection safety. I don't think we're gonna have the time to really like thoroughly do that job.
And one of the policies, so at the end, when we get into, like, so all this is up in the upfront section with the existing conditions. In our objectives and policies, we have an objective to eliminate severe and fatal, I'm on page 33, eliminate severe and fatal collisions in town, including the vulnerable road users like pedestrians and cyclists. And the first policy is to develop a local road safety plan. So that would specifically, the intersections would come specifically from that. But being in the comp plan, this is now a driver for that plan to start. It also talks about working with DOT and Tompkins County to install calming measures and see if there's ways to get additional speed reductions. So the comp plan's not supposed, I mean, we could, but it really should be more of a high level where we're not like specifically targeting Perry City and Crumbs Corner Road has to have a speed reduction or a stop sign.
Yeah, I think that's what I was envisioning more, right? Like, so obviously there's a safety component, and then obviously I would envision the biggest piece of this for a steering committee would be that we want people coming to Ulysses, and public transportation is a problem in our area. So I think I personally think that's a really important focus for this, for getting people being able to come and go, right? If you want to get to local businesses, everybody's driving right now. We want to discourage that. We want to reduce our carbon footprint, but how are we going to do that? There's not bus that comes through every hour on the hour. It's not like you're in a city where you're going to just kind of pop into the village and walk around and do stuff and then know that in 15 or 20 minutes a bus is going to come by and you'll be able to head back home. And yeah, we have a lot of great trails, but how close are they coming? And then are you locking up your bike, for example, if you ride a bike? Or are we going to have enough racks for locking up bikes and things like that? That's more what I was hoping to get from this element was how are we going to develop our community to be more pedestrian and transportation friendly?
And I think there's some of that in here too. I mean, the transportation safety is one aspect, and then multimodal transportation.
No, I don't think that it's not in there. I didn't mean to say that. I'm just, I just wasn't sure.
Under that, as under the transportation options, so we have personal vehicles, transit, bikes, walking. What's rolling?
Rollerblading.
Okay. Do we rollerblade on this?
There were scooters too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I read that for some reason incorrectly.
But one thing I've mentioned at a prior meeting that I don't think that it included is the growing use of autonomously operated vehicles that might either be privately owned or could be publicly owned and be a substitute for or an addition to buses for those who don't own their own vehicle. And it might be easier to get that type of transportation in more rural areas because right now Uber and Lyft are dependent upon having a human being accessible to drive them at the hour you want. But if you have a fleet of human-less vehicles that you can call at any moment from a parking lot, that might make what you're saying more feasible.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're making progress. I don't mean to sound so negative. In fact, the county's launching the new Tompkins Scout app, which is great. If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. It gives options for ride shares and things like that too. So I think that there's a lot of positive things coming this way. I just want to make sure that we're, getting the core of what we need to get into this element
Do those things need to be listed, like the app that you just mentioned, the trails thing? I mean, is that something that needs to be referenced at all?
That might be a Neil's question, because I hate referencing something that might not exist in
Yeah,
5 years.
that's true.
So like
County
a
driven.
general comment with apps, or check, with local apps, because it's, when you write policy, you never want to be specific, because
Yeah.
if a business is
It's not
gone in 5
evergreen.
years, you have to
Mhm.
rewrite the policy, for example.
Okay, so we've been about 15 minutes on this, which is okay. Just a time check.
One, for the bicycle riders in the group, I've been checking all the county roads and that sort of stuff. Perry City has roughly 3 foot wide paved shoulders beyond the white line. Is that enough for a bicycle rider to ride on?
Depends on how brave you are.
Well, I brought this up both in writing in my comments and at one of our earlier meetings, that we have a very significant deficit in shoulders, particularly on the roads that you would think bicyclists would be riding to access the Black Diamond Trail. Whether you're coming from the 96 direction or the 89 direction, those roads that run between them, some of them don't have any shoulders at all.
Right.
Some of them have a sharp drop off. The roads are narrow. So that has been probably the strongest point that I wanted to make, because, and I apologize, I probably mentioned this before, but I lost a brother-in-law who was killed not here, but on roads very similar to this, because he was riding as far on the shoulder, it appeared, as he could, but a vehicle struck him.
Yeah, well, because the rest of the county-owned roads in the town, most of them only have a 1 foot wide beyond the white line. I don't know if there's a way to lobby the county to standardize that, to at least, get it out to the 3 foot width as they repave them and that sort of stuff. It's a long-term project, but you've got Perry
3
City
foot
as
is
an
good.
example in the town to say that's a county road, and the rest of the county roads, at least it gives you somewhat of a
Right.
fighting chance to walk or attempt to ride a bicycle on.
Unfortunately, most of the roads have gullies next to them,
Yes.
and they can't cover the gullies, so that's the problem.
Niels?
Just to answer Carl's question, I'm not a transportation planner. That's a specific thing, but there is a concept of complete streets that's taken in multimodal, basically. Just did a quick search. So basically and this would follow I would suggest not in this one. I mean, you can make a policy saying work with IT, CTC, blah, 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 for transportation plan, safety, moving towards complete streets. But for a single lane pathway for a bike, the minimum is generally 4 feet. If you do something larger for pedestrians and bikes, it goes to 6 feet. But if it's for a two-way path, it's generally 8 to 10 feet. So 3 feet is substandard for current practice.
And it's sad that 3 feet, like Perry City, if that's what it is, it feels generous compared to pretty much everywhere else.
5
Or at
inches
least
on
has
Jacksonville
absolutely.
Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is definitely wider than any other county road in the town.
And maybe that's something that we can work on select. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna be able to redo every single road. There's not
Yeah.
enough money in the world.
Right, but
To
it's
redo all
it's
that,
meant
but if
as
there's
a
some
long-term
focus.
plan that as they come up for repaving and that would be the opportunity to do that.
Right.
And Niels may know
Unfortunately-
this, as far as, I know there are some kind of design standards for roads, but as I've observed, like they recently redid some of the road on Gorge Road around the Tacanic Park construction site, and you can see where they paved it, and then there was too much of a drop off, and they added another strip. But I'm thinking, that's not good. It's just a bunch of rough spots. If you try to ride your bicycle on the shoulder, it's just going to be bumpy, and it's going to encourage people to actually ride in the road.
Yeah,
And then on top of that, they've got the zone that's just gravel. So there's some shoulder, which might be okay from a safety
perspective, if you're looking to just have enough space where a car that's disabled can pull over, but the gravel transition is not good for bicycles.
Unfortunately, to redo roads like that, they have to go by some sort of a standard, and if it's off to the side, they're gonna have to dig that up, put gravel in, stone, and then pave it. So it's not just paving over something, they actually have to redo it.
Right.
And that's, cost money, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I like Carl's point, like when the time comes that the work is gonna get done, to keep those things in mind is wise.
Yes.
And I know we have the capital utilities, facilities and utilities element to type. In that chapter, there is a specific policy that's listed in there, work with the county to expand the blacktop shoulder on county roads. I don't know if we move that, I guess, I don't know if that's in the right spot. And I don't know if we need to change. I mean, we're talking about this 3 feet versus 1 feet. I know I'm being really specific right now, but I know it was someplace else and was trying to hunt it down.
No, that's.
Well, I can tell you a lot of bikes go down Jackson Hole.
Yeah,
And I can also tell you they don't have a lot of space to go. And
it's how we get to the BBT, it is.
yes, I've been hit almost many times, yeah. Okay, so where does that leave us with this conversation? And then circling back to your initial question, which was those 2 maps that are similar,
Oh, yeah.
fatalities versus the type of accident. I mean, I think that's right. If I was on a committee trying to determine safety, road safety, I would want to know probably the type of accident that was happening, at least.
So
Roxanne asked us. What was that?
Roxanne.
Oh, Roxanne, yes.
That's okay. I was following up on a comment that was just made about, I think by Allison, it's a little choppy, I think it's my internet, I'm sorry, about the, in another chapter, there was a reference to paving the roads wider, and I was thinking also about the bicycling, and in another chapter, I forgot which one, there's reference to, trying to promote a bicycling map and, looking at, the safety of roads has to do with the traffic volume and a lot of other things besides just the width of the shoulder. But we had talked about having such a map for Ulysses, and it made me think of something that I had thought about when I was reading these, because we have so many different chapters now, but there's so much overlap. I'm wondering if there's a way to construct a table somehow. I mean, it's kind of complicated, but that where things are cross-referenced. So, maybe one big thing at the end or something, but, or maybe with each chapter, there's like a cross-referencing table where there's other elements in other chapters that point people to it, because it's going to be so long. I mean, I don't know exactly what the suggestion is, but I think that could be really good. And the one other comment I have about this chapter is that the format of it, the goals, objectives, and policies, is not the same as the format of the other ones. It's just one big goal, which is transportation goal, and then it's just these policies and objectives with a lot of text in the beginning. And in our other ones, we have goals, this is a goal, and then those objectives, this is a goal, and then those objectives. And so I just think it would be good if we had a consistent, I think we all talked about that, a consistent format across all the chapters. So anyway, thanks.
Well, I think it'd be very reasonable, especially with AI, to put together an index and that can pull common terms and when they're located, that can be cleaned up from there.
Yeah.
Maybe not every term that AI would pull out, but that probably would be a fairly reasonable way to do it. I think that to piggyback off of was your comment about you were drawn in on the fatality map. I think that if we want to include this, I think what would be really helpful, I think this is a good visualization, but to leave the people coming after us who might work on this with the actual data provided in the appendix of where these accidents were would probably be really helpful, because this map is an interesting visual, but it's not functionally useful for actually doing.
Are you talking about what the accident actually occurred, if it was a bike accident or if it was a car
What-
accident or
Yeah, it was whatever data
pedestrian.
created is underlying the creation of this map, have that actually as like as a chart.
Yeah,
for
because all they
everything.
have is just red
Right.
dots. You have no idea what the accident is.
Exactly. I think it's really impactful to see it like this, but then you want to take the next action to fix it. you know.
So, I think just circling back, do we need more time to go through and highlight which maps folks want to pull into the appendices? Before this gets released to public? That's the goal, is to get this out to the public soon, so they have time to be able to review this before the open house, which is in.
Is it sufficient to say if it's concentrated or focused on Ulysses, it stays in? And just flag the ones that maybe are bigger and we're reviewing those instead of, you know what I mean, all of them? I don't know.
I think that's 1, 13, and 15 are the county one, or county focused ones, pages 1, 15, 11, 13, 14.
Like the one
Oh,
on
17.
14 is page 14 is in, the county and beyond.
Yeah.
That multi-use trails one.
Yeah, I feel like that one is out. It's not updated.
Page 14.
Figure 5,
Yeah.
page 13.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see why we need to
Yeah.
include that. But that could be in an appendix.
that could be in the appendix.
That's
I mean,
the
they're not going to
idea,
reference
just move
other
it to the
sources.
appendix.
Again,
Yeah.
just point people to Ithaca Trails, right? It's an
Yeah.
existing established site, yeah, it's gonna be updated. Right. I guess what I'm trying to say is what I'm hoping we can do is focus on what we can actually affect change and encourage change for Ulysses here. The things we're talking about, we'd love to see, but unless the county gets on board, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
So that's what I envision a steering plan for our town being something that we can actually affect change, not pie in the sky, is the county gonna do this for us kind of thing, which I'm gonna tell you the answer is no with the budget, the way it is right now.
It's in 2026, right?
Yeah, heard that last year too, right? Next year will be better. So that's what I think that's what I was trying to say, and I wasn't doing a good job of articulating it, is that I would like us to not get in a rabbit hole of how are we gonna fix the world, but what can we affect change? Like, yes, we wanna say in our document that we want this to be a safer community for pedestrians and for everybody and get that point across, but not fall into the trap of focusing on maps of here's where fatalities happen and here's where this happens. It's more like, we know that we have some issues, so what can, to Carl's point of, right, when these things come up, we ask, our goal is to ask the county, whether it comes from the board or who it comes from.
Well, the only two roads would be 96 and 89. And that's the ones you would have to try and fix because any of the shoulders that they have, especially on 89, cars parked there. How many times have you driven by and there's cars, parked in the shoulder?
Oh, yeah.
So, and any bicyclist that's going to come up 89 really is taking their life in their hands.
I agree.
And there is no entrance to get onto the Black Diamond Trail unless you are in Ithaca.
Correct.
The next one would be
Perry City.
Glenwood.
Glenwood
Heights,
yeah.
yeah.
and those are pretty steep and they don't have bike lanes anyway, but on a small country road you have a better chance people move over.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
89 is the one that really has to be fixed because a lot of people come up from Ithaca and they go to the park.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just don't know that this committee can affect that level of change is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we can make suggestions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just didn't
Yeah.
want to go down the rabbit hole of like, let's tell so-and-so that this needs to be 3 foot and get in that,
And 89 and 96 are state, but
Right.
we should have some way to influence, communicate with them, and hopefully let preferences be known, particularly because I'm guessing 89 is going to be due for repaving sometime soon.
It has to be. It's
starting
falling
to
apart.
look
Yeah,
look
it's
pretty
starting to
rough.
fall, yeah.
So I don't know, it might be good to try to start that conversation now and say, we'd like slightly wider shoulders, and particularly as you approach Ithaca, could we do something about the parking, still allowing somehow a safe bicycle path around it, which is gonna be difficult because it's pretty narrow there.
So you want the comp plan to identify specifically kind of who might communicate those wishes to whoever's gonna be redoing the road, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
And Kim, you're kind of just recommending that we keep focused on transportation overall, and not just the roads and the width of the roads and things like that, the other options, and that we have enough in there. So you're thinking maybe we don't have enough.
No, I think we've got enough in there. I just get worried once, this happens often at committees, we'll get in a rabbit hole of like focusing on like the detail of something we can't really affect change with. We don't have direct influence. We could, on town roads, we could go and complain to the board, right? And then Caitlin's gonna have to deal with that, and Scott Stewart and the rest of the crew are gonna be like, great, thanks for complaining. But we don't have, I mean, logistics, right? We don't have the budget this year or whatever, so like, we get in the rabbit hole versus just like.
Well, and I could even build on that because we've been looking at a trail to on Falls Road to connect the Black Diamond to the village. And let me tell you, like, there are so many limitations in terms of what has to be designed and how, in order to be eligible for that kind of funding, you actually can't have it just wide. Like, I was like, oh yeah, we'll just widen the road, right? Like, and
No.
it's not. You actually have to have spacing between the road and where a dedicated trail is in order to be eligible for funding. So you're not even talking about just widening the road in some cases. It's like, it's a whole profession for a reason. But I would put out that one of the incoming town board members who's running on a post is actually the head of ITCTC, so the new head of ITCTC. So we should have some good abilities to at least engage that organization.
It was like tons doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy just to fix a road, is it?
No, if only it were.
Yeah, right.
So for this element, which we had allotted 10 minutes for, we've been talking 30. Fine, Jen. So what comes next here? So Jessica, do you have questions? You feel like you have ideas of what the committee is looking for?
Yeah, I think to sum it all up, county maps, appendix, figures 11 and 14 seem good, but physical data from the collision one and appendix. Seems like it's a good consensus on objectives and goals, however, maybe to keep it a little bit more general in terms of the measurement of how wide roads should be. And then lastly, ID specifically should relay a message to ensure roads are widened on state roads when they're getting redeveloped or even county roads. And I think that's the comments.
And then back to Ryan's comment about the significant difference between the goals and objectives that are laid out in this one versus the other chapter.
Yeah, having a match. Roxanne?
And I don't. Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna raise that, and I have you were asking before about which figures. I thought figure 5 and figure 9 could go out for sure, and perhaps figure 10, the text, pretty much describes that. It's really hard to read that figure, and it really doesn't add anything more, and it's big. So those are my suggestions for the figures. And yes, again, thank you, Carl, for reiterating that we have a consistent format that pinpoints goals, objectives, policies through all of them, because this one's different. Thanks. That's what I would suggest before we put it out for vote to release.
I think housing is also the same in terms of that format, which was released. So
Are you able to hear Jessica, Roxanne? Did we change it to this format?
Not really well, but I'm trying, yeah.
Because I knew that we wanted it to be all standardized, and I knew we wanted a specific format. And then I even remember that we were changing language, and now I can't even remember what we changed the language to, and what were we opposed to, Jessica? But it had to have been like the housing, right? Because that's already out. So if it mirrors the housing, I think that's what we determined it to be then.
I mean, I don't know what happened prior to August, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Consensus was.
Not noted
Was it
anywhere.
Wasn't it in August though?
And I just wanted to know,
It's
in your
minutes.
concise summary, you just might not have been this week, but I think it's less about just making the road wider. It's really explicitly about having a wider defined area for bicycles, because actually, even along the state roads, there are places where the road is wider and narrower, but that doesn't mean, even in places where the road is wide, they may not have allocated enough for the shoulder.
You know, on 89,
So-
they can't really run a transportation bus. They do, but the only places they can stop is in the middle of the road. There are no pull-offs for a bus station.
Ty,
Or stop.
were you gonna add anything else to your comment
I was
there?
gonna try and find something before I talk more.
So what else do we need to talk about in this element? What more do we need to? It sounds like Jessica has some things to update. And then you'll let us know, and then we'll take another look, and then it'll go out to the public, is that right?
Well, normally we do a poll. If you want to skip the
Mhm.
poll, you can just make your comments by said date, whatever works for MRB, and then they can send it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so what is conducive for you all? So we could make sure that comments are getting in within time, and then we're not having to go back and continue to look at additional comments. If it's,
Yeah.
like, past the deadline. Is there like a week, 2 weeks? I mean, obviously we're on a time crunch with December. What is that like general timeline, I think, for all of these chapters going forward that we want to set?
I think transportation and utilities, we need to week most for us to look at, because I want to get that out. And this will be the third time we're looking at it, so
Yeah.
it's getting dragged out a little bit.
Mhm.
I want to make sure everybody's getting their feedback and input. I'm not trying to streamline things, but
I think
We
it,
need
I
to
mean, it's
keep
a
it
good
going.
read. I'm not, I think it's a good read. Okay. Ty, I went back and I looked into housing, and it is, looks like it is the same format as this one, so now I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't.
But
Was there
other
a reason-
ones aren't the same format, so they're not all the
Right.
same.
I think it may be different because Eric may have wrote housing and transportation, so maybe that's where that difference is. And I know like Angelina wrote well-being and a couple of the other ones, so it could be
Mhm.
just the writer, and it's not looking like it's been done by the same person.
Is that something that MRB would do to get
Yeah.
those all lined up so they're
Yeah.
consistent?
Yep, so if you wanted it to be like how community well-being was for all those other chapters, where it's goals, objectives, policies, and there's not context at the beginning, we could certainly just revise and do that.
Is that how we want those to look like the other, or these ones to look like the other ones with the goals?
That's fair.
So not to remove information per se, but to just get it organized so that it matches.
Which version are we going with? The ones that were previous or the ones in housing and?
Not housing.
Not housing, not
The-
transportation.
yeah, so
The previous ones.
what's in utilities?
Okay, that's helpful, thank you.
Utilities has it.
Yes.
Alright, so if today's the 3rd, and you said a week for comment, so like the 10th is good for a deadline, and then we'll try to get it back to you by the next week.
So you're getting it to us on the 10th?
No, we have to
We're
provide
getting it back
any
to you.
last minute edits, comments, thoughts,
Gotcha. Okay. I like it.
recommendations.
Okay, so we have until the 10th. We're on it. Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna say no. And so do we have consensus that the draft transportation element can be released to the public? I guess the answer is no. But we're going to review by the 10th and then what comes after that, then you guys will wrap it up.
A week later.
We'll try to get it
And then it'll get
by the
released
19th, maybe.
the latest.
or the 17th.
Yeah.
Okay. So potential release date of the 17th after our review by the 10th. Okay, next is the preliminary review of the draft capital facilities and utilities element. Again, we have 10 minutes set aside
And
for
this
this.
again is the second time we're discussing that one.
Yeah, so do you want to lead us on that, Jessica, on what the comments that, because there were a lot of comments on this, and I think everybody, a lot of people commented, so like, tell us what happened.
So I think the main comments were related to water and sewer and the clarification of what community members actually wanted, and that was a big one, as well as eliminating like all the roads in that inventory that was listed in one page at the end, and just clarifying like there is no ditches. And, you know, who's getting the water? If there is anybody getting public water, where is it that is not connected to the well? So those were the main takeaways that we determined. And we tried to clarify in the plan as well. And then we also too mentioned a little bit about septic and tapping into the New York State grant that's out there.
And so for the most recent, we're in August 2025 revisions.
Yes.
Right, not old, okay. Okay, comments, anybody? I mean, this is the one that was really marked up, right? So what are our next steps with this?
So, I mean, I think it looks pretty good, but it's really up to you guys if you feel like there's more that needs to be done on this in terms of clarifying. I think the consensus was that people do and are interested in sewer and water. However, it is very expensive. So is this really a feasible option? Which I don't think the public knows, like, oh, is this really feasible? But they are saying they are interested in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's lots of, money is definitely a factor in providing new water sources, public water sources. There's, Eggs and Markets has rules too about where you can install water lines, where you can't. If there's a lot of agricultural land around there, they actually recommend not installing water lines to minimize impacts or potential for farms to get overtaken. So I think we've started some flyers, some like educational flyers, or we had something where we talked about the policies and like how to get water. It was kind of like how to.
Well, we adopted a policy that explains how you can, and we answer a lot of questions, and we had it budgeted to actually do a project this fall, but our administrative assistant went back to school, so that's on hold.
So I think this is one place where we can talk through why it's not just simple like, let's have water. Okay, let's go build a pipeline. Roxanne,
Go ahead, Roxanne.
Oh, sorry, that was actually my question was from before, but I could ask it later, was just how are we gonna decide, are we gonna have a discussion, an email discussion of the form? I don't wanna go backwards, but which format we're gonna use for the goals, policies, and objectives of the two types of chapters. So if we can just clarify that at the end. But with regard to this chapter, I made a lot of comments. There was a lot of actual errors in things that were stated, and I looked, and I think most of those are corrected now. And also, I just thought there was way too much of a focus on building municipal water as an overarching goal, and And I thought it was in contradiction with some of the other aspects of the plan that we have so far, the housing where we talked about, you know, putting it in specific places and really investigating that, and the survey and a lot of other things. So I think it's been toned down some from the way it was laid out, but it was almost the whole purpose of this chapter was we need more municipal water. And I really don't think that was what was coming out of the public input from lots of different things. So.
Okay.
I totally agree with that. And personally, I don't want to see an expansion of public water. I think overall, I think private water has much less impact on the environment. It's overall, when it's done well, much safer than transporting water from, you know, a huge retaining tank through miles of pipe. I much prefer to get it at the source.
I think the problem though, and I've spoken with a lot of residents, is their well water's bad.
Yeah.
And I talk to a lot of residents and it can be on the same street that if someone is like, I ask them how their water is and they're like, I love it. And you talk to somebody down the road on the other side of the street and their water's terrible. And so there's no simple solutions, but I think part of the problem is that it's very expensive. Actually, it can be very expensive to treat your well, to get quality water. And the other thing that we're confronting in the town is that we have a number of what are considered permissive service users. And those are individuals who were allowed decades ago, and I mean back starting in the 30s and 40s, to hook up to the village's distribution line that used to run from the western part of town into the village. The water ran easternly. That became a line that now runs when the village was able to hook up to Camp Barton in 65, where there's their primary water sources. That water now flows westernly, and it flows out to almost a western terminus of the CARS, the addiction recovery facility, which is a huge state-funded facility. And that water line is 80+ years old. And something the town will have to grapple with those residents is that those are people who've been on public water for a very long time. Pay their bill to the village in most cases, and they're dealing with infrastructure that is going to collapse. Mm-hmm. And so what do you do in those kind of situations? And then we have a public water system in Jacksonville that was over-constructed. It was built to serve more people than it currently does. And so we actually have to expend water out of that system to keep it moving in the summer. And where it terminates on Cold Springs Road, we have to push water out because it's a dead end. That's not ideal. Like having that connect. So there are other, so I'm not saying that like, do I think it's realistic to be the town of Ithaca who has public water to every household? No, I do not think that that's realistic because we're a very different agricultural community. That being said, though, we have a lot of existing infrastructure that we're going to have to grapple with. And figure out solutions for. And I just hear from people that, you know, they're deeply frustrated. I know people who are literally, I've spoken to people who are going to leave the town because they're water bad and they're frustrated.
Well, as one who was on Jacksonville Road from well water to public water, I was thrilled and still am thrilled with public water versus what I had in my well water. So
it generates a lot of emotion.
Yeah, it's really important to have good water in your house. Okay, so what else with this component? So the corrected version is the one that's still all marked up, but, or am I on the wrong one?
No, you got this. That's the one.
We wouldn't release one to the public that was like
there's
this.
Clean copy, is that the one?
That's the one that we released.
I'm reading the one that says clean copy _826 2025 PDF. Yeah.
And then the one below it is the track changes. And it's in August 2025.
Yeah, right, okay.
I had one other comment that I apologize I did not put in writing anywhere, but just feel like I meant to say it when we were reviewing this last time and we ran out of time. There's a focus on emergency services and fire department, and I know that gets tricky with the village, what funds what. From I don't know if there can be, or if this is the appropriate place to word something. It's not just here locally, it's a nationwide problem, that there is a huge issue that there are not people going into EMS services specifically, and like volunteer firefighting. We have lost that completely, and it is hurting us in these rural areas dramatically. I don't know if there can be something added in of encouraging even local education for volunteerism towards this. I don't know if this is the appropriate place to add it, if it fits in here, but we're trying to present, I guess I'm piggybacking on you, Kip, like what's a maybe tangible problem?
Yeah,
Right.
helping
Something
the
so-
workforce for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A sense of community, right? You build your community and you want to volunteer, you want to be a part of it. I'm not a volunteer kind of person. You don't want me to be. My neighbor is. I mean, I think that there's a lot of value in that, and there's a lot that goes into that.
But as far as like the EMS and the EMT training and stuff, I would add that into the workforce one. Build up that
Yeah.
pipeline, because there's definitely a lot of
Yeah.
trainings right now.
It's a real hot button topic in Ulysses though, between
Yeah.
TCOG and everything that's going on right now in the county with
Mm-hmm.
our rapid response program. I would just be very careful about dipping your toes too far in a comp plan, and because again, we're looking at a 20-year vision, not like what we're trying to do
Well,
today.
The real problem is though, is that the rising escalation of EMS costs are gonna make it unsustainable. And when you have, I will get off my soapbox, when you've got 15 to 20% of your calls leaving the town of Ulysses and we're fronting the biggest bill, I have to turn to taxpayers and say, we're paying for City of Ithaca residents, because that's mostly where they're going. It's back to a private ambulance company. We will not be able to maintain it. I've said that publicly before. There is no way to make those budgets work without a huge tax burden. So there are, the solution, quite honestly, is cooperation with other municipalities in our area. I think that is achievable. So,
Roxanne?
Yeah, just going on what Caitlin just said, that's been such an ongoing and huge issue and problem and challenge. And so I just wonder for objective 10.5, do we want it worded exactly the way it's worded now? Or do you want to say, work more regionally? I mean, this is all it says, to explore options for further investing in the villages, EMS and fire department. I mean, we kind of pay what they say we have to pay, and we don't really have a choice. So maybe more creative options, like Caitlin was just saying. I'm just wondering if we want to reword those two things. It's on the last page, 13, objective 10.5.
Okay.
Is there, we don't really, it's the village's EMS and the village fire department. We pay into it.
Well-
We pay a lot of money.
well, it's not the village's fire department per se. It's not a village department. It's an independent nonprofit,
Yes.
but yes. So
I just don't know how much control we have.
So the
What we
control,
can do.
the control that we have locally is just continued advocacy to find regional solutions to this problem. That's the real issue. And I think that could be an additional objective. And I think it really is advocating for regional solutions, because it, just like water, right? We are mutual aid responsibilities. Water does not respect municipal boundaries, and neither do mutual aid accidents. So like ambulances, people need ambulances. So I'm not saying I don't want people to get the ambulances they need. I just want it to be fairly distributed who's bearing the financial burden. City of Ithaca residents don't pay for EMS in their tax bills, and everybody in the town of Ulysses does. So, I think regional advocacy is something that
Should be added to like.
Yeah.
That.
And that's not too polarizing.
I was going to tell you, in New Hampshire, that's exactly what they did. It was regional. There was one call center, and wherever you were located, it actually even went into Vermont. So if you were on the New Hampshire border next to Vermont, Vermont would actually take that call, and they would go to their hospital. But it was regional. It was the entire county, and there was one call center, and whoever was closest went, and that's how it was paid for. Also, the towns paid the county. and then the county took the whole thing. It was much, much easier and faster.
Almost like the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
Doing different-
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So you want to say something like explore options for further investment into the village of Trumansburg's EMS and fire department, as well as regional options to reduce
I would do a new
a whole new one.
a whole new one and basically just call it out, but, you know. More ways for continued advocacy and, regional cooperation. Because we have border townships who don't have ambulance services of their own. And their statements is they can't afford to do it.
Well, in New Hampshire, we didn't have an ambulance either. It was the regional, whatever ambulance was closest to whatever they need, wherever they were.
So one of the
So
things-
towns didn't have to buy ambulances or use them or maintain them.
So Liz is adding this to the Word document, so the PDF that's the later cleaned up. Go back over here. Thank you for doing that. Any other?
Wordsmith as much.
I just want to caution us to be careful about, like, this is, I mean, the point of this plan is a 20-year plan, right? And I am not making any statements. I fully support EMS. If you, anything about my job, you know that it's basically my life. But at the same time, it's a hot topic right now. And I hate when we get the focus too much on, like, what is the hot topic now. Like, I noticed even when we were doing the surveys, there was a shift in the responses when the discussion about the recreational park came out. And I felt like the whole concept of a 20-year plan went out the window and it became, let's talk about the parks now. And that's all people were responding to. And I'm afraid we lose the thread a little when we focus on immediate concerns and are not thinking like, okay, in 20 years, what, this is supposed to be a sustainable document. I always, close your ears, Niels. I struggle with the concept of a 20-year plan. It's hard enough to plan 5 years out. None of us know what's going to happen. But I think that's what we're charged with, right? Is trying to be as broad and general as possible to keep the vision for this versus the details of, are we going to have our own EMS? Are we going to, who's going to be billed for it? That kind of stuff, the minutia.
So you don't feel like that should be included?
Which, I'm sorry.
The regional.
No, I don't
Talking
think
about EMS for the next 20 years?
I don't think it shouldn't be included. I just wanted to get that out there, that I feel like sometimes that as I listen more and more, we start focusing on the hot topic of the moment versus the, the big picture here. And I would pray that in 20 years, it's not such a hot topic that somebody's figured out what we're gonna do for services. We already do have a consolidated PSAP in the county. We only have one. We do have closest car concepts, so we already have that in place. But I mean, what Caitlin is talking about is something very specific and very concerning, like the funds and the money. And that's a hot button topic, right? We're not going to solve that, I think, in a 20-year plan.
I wouldn't go so far as 20 years anymore. Even the comp plan today, the way the country is being run, we're talking 5 years from now, it might have to be revised. 10 years, that could be even a push there.
Right, that's what I agree.
As soon as this one.
That's basically what it
Last
is,
year's
right?
stuff, yeah.
You get the one done and you have to start right again. But
Yeah.
it's 20 years, not what the
I think it's just
technically are
10,
20
isn't it?
years.
10 years.
So sorry,
So-
you're new, but the state doesn't have any requirements for comp plans. Best practice, what I'm used to is you plan for a 20-year time period. The town really ought to start planning for the next update 8 years from now, so that by 2035, you have a new plan. So, and then on top of that, I'm really hoping the town makes annual updates. Like if you develop a housing action plan, the town board should adopt that and it should be incorporated and referenced as a sub-plan to the comp plan. So every year, the town board really ought to be
That's
looking
good.
at fine-tuning those and updating it.
Do we need to write that into the comp plan if it happens?
It's part of the introduction.
Committee to do that?
I mean, Roxanne's on, and she dates back for a long time
Yeah.
before me. Roxanne, I would just push back on the concept that EMS is a hot button topic right now. I think it's been something that has been really talked about at the town board level, right? Roxanne, it's been big for at least what?
It'll start
Actually,
Yes, sir.
I was going to raise my hand and say that it's not, I think, Kaylin, you stated it well. It's an overarching issue in this town. It's a large part of our tax base. If people look at it, it goes up and up. We have no control over it. And we struggled a lot with trying to look for options, and there really aren't good ones, but it's a really important issue for the town to be able to sustain the population here and all. And it's a larger issue. And I think putting in that regional point is really good. And I do hear what Kim is saying, like going down rabbit holes and all, but I do think it's kind of a fundamental issue for services in the town that everybody who's been the supervisor for quite a long time has the PTSD scars from. So yeah, I think it's important.
In a different category than parks, you know what I mean? Like that kind of service.
Is there any data on response times?
Yep.
And
Lots of it.
and how is it?
Well, it's a lot better in Ulysses than it is in the town of Enfield. I can tell you that. They're looking at 24 plus minutes.
Oh my.
Or a lot less than that. I don't have the exact number.
Okay, so with that, thank you for
So-
adding.
Do people want to take another look? Do people with that want to just clean it all back up again? Sorry, it's just all track change and get it out for the public. I think we just need to figure out what the next steps are
Yeah.
for utilities.
So what are our next steps? Are we reviewing this again just in PDF now? And people are making comments in a PDF, or are you keeping it in a Word doc?
So just to clarify, comments currently, any that have been happening in this meeting has been happening in the PDF?
No, I put it in the Word.
Oh, yeah, so just keep putting it in the latest August 2025 Word doc and we'll see it. And then we'll put it into a September folder and a newer version.
It might be just me, but it's really helpful for me usually when you have drafts to put like the date in the title of the draft, like the actual date, and then we know it's the most recent.
Yeah,
I think they have
Yeah,
that.
oh, good,
We'll
yeah.
make it more-
It should be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it happened.
I think that's, yeah.
That would be good. Maybe it just needs to be more clear on the folder for me, but, okay, so what else with the capital facilities?
I mean, I think with the additions that were made and the revisions, I think it is cleaner and more to what we were looking at. I don't know if I would have many more edits or comments. I mean, I could always make edits and comments, but I don't need to before it goes out to the public. I don't know how others feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think based on the timeline, the sooner it's out to the public, recognizing it's not final, that hearing the feedback will shape it even more.
I'm really curious. Are we getting feedback on what's been out already?
Well, we have got comment today. I don't know if the town board has. I haven't been hearing anything filtering from the town board. And there's no comments to
Chris says
the,
no, so nothing.
and there's no comments
on
coming
us.
through the committee's web or email either.
That's on us to make sure that happens. So with this one, do people need to review this again, or are we just saying that once it's cleaned up and these other things are added, then we're releasing to the public? Roxanne?
Sorry, just one last thought on the water. We could add a goal, which the town is probably going to achieve, reasonably soon. So that's good. But to adopt a drinking water source protection plan, because that and the implementations in that, which we have a draft out now for public comment, have a lot about helping people understand how to deal with their well water and septic and everything like that. So so we could just put that in as an objective to adopt it and then, to follow it. I think the suggestion would be to have it looked at regularly and perhaps have a committee to help, get information out to the public. So kind of covers other water besides municipal and issues people have.
And just another thought on, you said there's some places where there's random people that have difficult wells, but maybe not the entire street. Maybe not so common here, although I have there are some people that get water trucked into a cistern, and it's very common in Colorado, for example, for your water source to be, delivered water. I mean, is that something even the village could offer from?
Like bottled water or?
Well, no, they bring a truck and they fill your
Willie's water.
5,000 gallon cistern
How
and
much
you
is
get
that
water
costing?
delivered.
I know Spruce Road does that.
I was gonna say, I think I looked at Willie's water once when Billy was still alive, and it was like, I wanna say like $800 for a truckload or something like that.
I know during the summer when it's really hot, Spruce Road does that. Willie's taps into
They buy it.
the hydrant and buys it from the town.
I don't know how much to sell on the private market. We're selling it just above like our operating costs. Chris would have the exact rate. But for us, it's a huge benefit. The more water we sell, the more water we don't have to waste because we need that water to move in the system.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that should be more, what's the word, people made more aware of the option, and maybe that would be a possible, even though it might be expensive, it could be a whole lot less expensive than new water lines to areas where there's minimal need for it.
So some kind of list of options or something.
Right.
For people to have to choose from.
Because people might not think about it, because, it's not something until recently I was aware was even available here, but I've heard of a few people doing that, and it is very common in the West where it's difficult to get a well, Colorado in particular.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next for this element? Does it just get released or go to vote, or do we review
I think
again?
it always goes to vote.
You can review it. Well, you can do it like you did with the transportation, or if you're good with making the changes that they make, and once they're done, just now say we're releasing them with those changes.
So, since it's a pretty easy change and fix, I'd shoot for like the 10th, the latest, to get this out for you to release this to the public.
Okay.
I'm okay voting tonight.
Emma,
Okay.
going, okay, taking a vote?
Yes,
Putting you on the spot.
that's fine. It's good to check, make sure your senior citizens are still awake.
Yeah.
Paying attention.
And your junior citizens also.
Want to make sure your input is
Yes,
considered.
yes.
All right. So we're gonna vote for this now?
That once,
Oh, I
so
thought we
vote
were doing
would
it
be
tonight. Sorry.
once Jessica's able to get the addition
Roxanne.
and the updated.
Oh, Roxanne, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Liz was just answering. It cut out and I didn't quite hear. Are we voting right now or we're voting a little later? And if we were voting now, I was just going to ask Jessica to say the things that were being changed before we voted. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I think we're saying we're gonna vote now to go ahead and release it with the fixes, the cleaned up copy. So that's fair, I guess, to ask Jessica to do a little recap on what will get changed.
So essentially what I'm hearing is that there are 3 goals to add. A list of options that were discussed if you don't have a good well in terms of where to access your water. Another goal is to adopt the drinking source water protection and apply that plan in the future into the town. And then another one was relating to the EMS and advocacy objective. And that was pretty much it.
So those are policies
Okay.
that would be added with under goals, right? Yeah,
Yes.
policies. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so, do I have to say anything specific to have us vote on whether we're ready to release this one after the changes are made? I just did that.
You accept a motion on those.
I'm gonna accept a motion to vote.
A motion to approve the release
Okay,
of the chapter pending the changes just outlined.
just say that again, I'm just gonna move my mouth.
I got it.
You what?
Well, I could just say, I move that we, vote as to whether we will approve release of this chapter following the described changes that are going to be made.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thanks. So we're not, is that our vote or do we actually need to vote now?
Nope, that was the vote.
Great, all right.
Good.
Next is our preparation for the second open house, which is scheduled for Monday, October 6th from 4 to 7 at Racker Center, located at 3226 Wilkins Road. Niels, do you want to lead this conversation or do you want me to just talk about the flyer or?
I can piggyback with you and
Okay.
Jessica. So last month, the committee was routed a flyer for the second open house, and we did it again. If there's any recommended changes, please let MRB know as soon as possible, because that really does need to get printed and distributed ASAP.
I apologize, we have to go to open house, which closes at 7.
Oh my gosh, have
We have to
fun.
drop off a terrible amount of school supplies, so.
That must be the traffic at the school. It was like, what is going on?
Elementary.
Busiest I've ever seen.
Okay, where are we looking? Sorry.
It was sent in the email from Neil this morning,
Last month and last week.
last week.
Sorry.
Niels is hurting over there.
Redo. I had looked at it. I looked at it.
With the postcard.
I mean, the only correction that I would do is actually put in the date
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
where it's going to be.
The only thing you're missing.
We use that picture a lot. Second, open house, 8/28, I got it. Drop in from support 7. We have a date now. It's Wednesday, October 8th. Family friendly. Review draft chapters. Do we want a QR code on here
For,
to our website? Does that help people? We have the website on here, but if you're looking, like if it's up at.
did we have it on the first one?
Or whatever.
I
I
think
don't
a QR
know.
code is a good idea. I think you'd be surprised how many people use them.
Is the date the 8th or the 6th? Sorry.
Six. I had the 8th.
Okay.
stuck in my head.
So it's Monday the 6th.
It's the 6th.
Yeah. Correct. I had the old one open. Otherwise, I think the QR code's my only
Yeah,
thought.
and then just takes you to the website. Okay.
Gotta get people to come.
Yeah. So last time we had like a major emergency like push of emailing to the whole universe like 3 days before. So it'd be better to maybe not do that and have it be staggered, and do, I don't know how, if there could be a nice email that like looks pretty that can then get distributed at different time, maybe different groups on different days. If something goes out a week ahead of time, something goes out 2 weeks ahead of time, is like, or maybe something goes out a day before, to give people reminders.
Oh, just 1 second. I'm sorry. Liz, were you looking at a draft of a card that didn't have the QR code but had a pretty picture?
Yeah, so we're on the flyer.
Flyer, not
Oh, the flyer, not the.
I was on the
The
card
postcard.
also.
I was on the postcard.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's why I was like, but the QR code is there. I
Yeah,
apologize.
sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't you get your postcard?
I did.
Yeah.
We shrunk it down a
forward.
Oh, yeah, no, it was, I did get the postcard. So back to the flyer. So the flyers will go where and by whom?
So we can make copies. Staff is very short staffed right now, so we do not have time to go out. So the burden on us is on committee members to take charge and distribute to your neighborhoods and your community members. I believe Carl went out to Lakeshore.
Yeah,
Neighborhood
the
Association.
Lakeshore folks, and they actually loaded it up onto their website for me.
Yeah, if you could do maybe Jacksonville, if other people in your neighborhood groups could.
Yeah, social
Do that.
media, I mean,
Yeah.
we all have those.
Yeah, if there's something,
Groups.
like if there's an email, like if this can be not an attachment, but an email, and it can just be sent to the JCA, like that would be super easy. I think people do respond to that.
Like, what's the rules about like posting on the Black Diamond Trail? Or...
Yeah, I don't
on
really like
places?
walking onto people's property personally.
No, like but like, you know, like you have to walk into it and there's
Yeah.
like the gate or something.
But there's a sign right now, like letting you know.
It's
that
hanging
there's
on the bathroom door.
construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, they have, there's a sign on Craft Road, there's a bulletin board there. When you walk in,
Oh, going.
I don't know, there
yeah,
might be something
going
in the
towards
new
the town, there's a
restrooms too.
bulletin board.
We can see if we can ask Fred Ball. I'll take that on.
Now that's my neighborhood. That's what I was just saying. It's like I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go, Ty.
Otherwise, I don't know how you want to like split it up. I mean, these are just flyers we're talking about.
Yeah. So previously, what Molly and I were able to do to some places is more focused on Trimsbury at the time, but we also went to some churches, things like that. It's just we don't have the time right now to do that.
Yeah.
But you're okay instead of printing if we do as much like
Emails.
social media, like, you know, there's the Trimsburg Senior Citizens, they have a little thing, post there, whatever, there's like 16 iterations of Trimsburg community and gathering and whatever else, like those kind of things. We can independently do that, it doesn't have to come from.
And then
So
I think we did an
You'll probably
informal.
post it on the town's Facebook page, and then that could be shared from there to other
Right,
places.
that's what I'm saying, that's like,
So,
Yeah.
like when I post it, should I send an email to everybody, like, here it is,
Mm-hmm.
send it out?
With the link,
share
Yeah.
it?
that'd be great. It would be great if we had the link, and you know, and I didn't know, Jessica, if this is something your group does, is create like content for this social media, and you know what I mean. I mean, I don't know if the flyer just instead of having it be attached can be built in as like a whatever MailChimp or Constant Contact. You know what I mean? When you create like a email that has a message that isn't just a bunch of words. You know what I mean?
So, kind of tie in, do you want to review that before it gets out as well? Because you're a communicator. Okay.
Yeah, what's your time frame for that?
Well, we should have the changes by tomorrow, right? For the flyer, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I can send you the flyer.
Great.
And then as far as printing them out, you have just an amount you're gonna print, and you'll let us know to come get some. Whoever can come get some, put them
Yeah.
somewhere.
And if they run out, just ask.
Did we do that last time? Did we just distribute flyers? To
We went
places?
to the school,
Mm.
schools can do them, we might be able to get them into the school newsletters now too. School starting again. New York Pizzeria might take it, the bank might take it, the Pines might put it up.
Mm-hmm.
The golf course will throw one up.
of course.
I don't know, we have the first year.
It's too bad we don't have them here right now to.
I would say,
The golf course was the definite, yes.
from what we heard informally at the last open house, they'll really push the social media because I think that's where most people said they actually.
Yeah.
I
An
wish I prefer
email.
Not to keep killing trees, but
Yes. Well, and
And
I
the
don't.
other issue is once you put up one of these, I worry a little bit, signage like on Black Diamond Trail, someone should be responsible to go back and recover it so it doesn't
Yeah.
become litter that gets blown off or something.
Yeah, I feel very less inclined to print things out, that I do have like a really good email that can be forwarded, a really good piece of social media content that can be shared.
Yeah, what is the second one, public hearing? It's a transportation, right? Obviously.
The second open house.
Oh, no, wait, yeah, what
It's
is?
gonna be for everything. This is the
Oh.
open house.
Are you asking about the hearing or the open
Oh,
house?
yeah, sorry.
There is a second public hearing that we have to get to new business.
Okay.
This is
Let me
the,
get
Sorry, the open house.
open house where we're
It's
all
just
gonna
about
be there
everything,
with
right.
maps in front of us and listening to
Okay.
all the public talk.
Okay, so it's not gonna, okay. I was just thinking because it was transportation too, but yeah, no, hearing, open house.
Yeah,
got
so
it.
it would be great, I think, to, if we're able to have that in the next, even this week and start, if there's something that can happen weekly, if there's just,
Right,
if
yeah.
there's just, it goes out several times, once
Mhm,
a week for the next 4 weeks,
mhm.
that it's getting shared and people are passing it around, then I think
Yeah.
it's good for people to hear about it more than once.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay, what else?
I don't get sick of us.
Any other additional ways to do outreach? PSA or something, newspaper, are we doing any of that, or is that just?
Because they're hearing, well, for the hearings, we are wrapping that up as legal notice, and we're throwing the open house in there as well.
Okay. Anything else on outreach? So Niels, discuss the training that the committee members may want from legal in order to effectively make a recommendation to the town board.
Yeah, so think about this, or I'm highly suggesting, think about this, because most of you have not gone through, I'm gonna presume, a formal recommendation that's gonna be an actual resolution that's full of findings of facts and whereases and all that stuff. The documents that you need and all that, we can do a small training session with legal, if that's gonna help, because there's gonna be a lot of work to get through in a very short time period. And the town board's gonna need that. I'm still waiting to hear back from Nate, Liz, and Kate on how the town board wants to start their hearings or hearing. But presumably you guys need to be done by November, the beginning of November, I'm gonna presume. So anything that can help you guys get your ducks in a row for that, let me know, and we can start coordinating with Nate on a advice of council session. If you find that is gonna be helpful.
Okay.
I mean, you
I don't
can
know what
rely
that
on,
means.
you can also rely on,
Do you want to get
BZA
some
and town
like,
board.
sideline help to
Me?
understand something?
It's
Like
everybody's
if you're-
looking at me. Okay, I'm like, am I writing
you're
a
just asking.
resolution? Like, I
Or
don't know. That was,
yeah.
okay.
more of like an educational.
Yeah,
So
so
that-
so how does that get drafted? Like, what is that? Where does
No,
that
Nate
come
will
from?
sit down with us and talk us through it
So we have to decide.
if we want it. If we want Nate to come and have this little hour session with us to walk
Okay.
through.
So what do you think? Do we need that? Does anybody here know how to write that?
Well,
We're not writing it,
Yeah.
and he's not gonna write it. That'll be Niels and Nate will be writing recommendations. But it's whether or not we want to understand so that we're not asking questions.
because this is going to be your committee's last time to get public comment and feedback
At the open house,
at your last hearing.
at the last hearing.
And the way the timeline's looking is like that last public hearing is probably going to be the same time that you make your recommendation. So hopefully you will feel comfortable taking in those comments, deliberating, and saying we need to make changes to this, this, and this, and this before we make this recommendation.
And you mean you, the committee, or you mean you, me?
Committee.
Committee.
But we can pin it on you. It's fine.
Don't do that.
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just whether or not there's time with everything going on and other commitments.
Yeah.
That I just don't want
Roxanne?
to be respectful of.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm confused or would like some clarification on the timeline and the process. So we're having this public meeting and we're getting input and we're getting it maybe online and we're getting it from our subcommittees that we represent and sent on. I sent ours to Angelina. Maybe she's not working on this anymore. I don't know, so I should resend it. But how are all those comments getting addressed or taken into account with regard to these draft chapters that we have? Because I don't see how we write a resolution to move a whole draft plan forward to the town board without having it, the final one, our final draft written. And so can maybe Niels, you can clarify how the vision is for this to work, how we're going to incorporate all this stuff from the public hearings and the open house and be ready to vote on some final draft thing in the beginning of November.
Yeah, so Jessica and I touched base last week on this. The expectation is that any comments that the town receives, please, if it's not through the comp plan steering committee email, please forward them to me and I'll coordinate with Jessica's team. And MRB will be compiling, an exhaustive list of the comments received and responses to that. And then after the public open house and after the second to last public hearing, the expectation is that the committee will have, a final draft. A final draft of the documents and also the environmental assessment. And in there'll be, basic responses. It could be so much as like, thank you for your comment. Or it could be, if it was a really substantive comment, you could say new policy 5.2.2, whatever has been added, right? And then that document is what the committee will be reviewing as part of your final deliberations.
Okay. Is that good for you, Roxanne?
It just seems hard to, given, how our discussions are in depth and they're good, how we're going to do all that in one night, like hear each of these things and say this change has been made and be okay and vote on it. But maybe that'll work. I remain skeptical.
Well, should we look at potentially a second meeting in October, just like we're doing in November? And that would be the one where we'd go over all these changes. And that way, by the time we get to the first Wednesday in November, we should be comfortable voting on it. I realize it sucks into everybody's time to try and do that, but it gives us the time as a group to actually go through the discussion.
So we have September 24th.
Yeah.
We tentatively have for public hearing 2. Then October 6th, we have the open house.
I was going to ask, do you want to meet on October 1st?
First is the first Wednesday of the month. And then we've got 5 options, lucky us. In October.
We're not meeting on October 1st currently? No, we are.
No, that's our
That's the
regular.
normal.
Yeah, okay. So wait, what? I don't know.
Whether
I
you
guess
want
I
to
missed-
meet another time in October
Oh.
to talk through, because at the first,
You
we
won't
won't
have,
have our public open house yet. So we wouldn't have the comments.
so the 15th would be like 2 weeks down the road.
That's going to be a conflict with the BZA though. And you will have hearings.
Yes.
So it would be the 22nd
22nd.
or the 29th.
The 8th is not an option.
I think that's a little too soon
Okay.
after the
The
public hearing
public hearing.
for MRB to compile
To have it
everything.
already.
Well, would the
open
22nd work?
house.
That's really 3 weeks after that, or 2
2 weeks.
2 weeks
Yeah.
after the open house.
I mean, we could definitely have all the comments compiled and ready. Yeah. If you're asking for like a final document by the 22nd, it's gonna be tough. So just so you guys are aware, our final document that not final, our draft that Niels had sent from Highland Planning, they're doing for us because it's a quicker pace on this plan. And so they're gonna need to have some time. I have to relay the information. So I also have to think about them and their timeline too. So that's when it gets a little tricky as well. I could try, but I just don't know what their timeline is right now to say yes or no.
Do we? Instead of meeting the first, just throwing this out there, do we want to meet the 8th instead, so then we can start talking initially about some of the, because the first, I don't know what we're gonna do outside of talking through. So we could do the 8th and either the 22nd or 29th. Does it? 29th, 22nd just gives us more time before the 5th.
Yeah.
I just don't know what we're gonna do on the first, other than plan for the open house, but hopefully we've kind of
Put that together.
put that so that if we meet on the 8th, then we can at least talk some initial feedback from the open house.
Yeah, because if we're at the open house, we'll have a pretty good handle on.
It'll be fresh in our minds.
Yeah. I think that makes more sense to meet on the 8th instead. And then potentially,
No, that's an easy one.
So
when's
That
our
makes
meeting
more
in
sense
November
to me.
then?
Right now it's the 5th.
The 5th?
So just so I'm clear, we're meeting on the 8th to go over all the comments as well as.
We're just gonna go through as many comments as you can.
Yeah, and
It's 2 days later, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
And
But
what
just
you've received,
like what
you know,
we
as
thought
a
of, start talking through the comments and what we're kind of seeing big picture wise for the final version to be incorporated into that.
So, all right, so just, I feel like I have so many dates on my calendar right now. So we're meeting on the 24th. And then we're meeting on the 1st, or we're not gonna meet on the
I think we
1st.
should skip it and move
So
to
then
the,
we're gonna just go to
I
the
don't,
8th.
Niels, am I screwing you up?
That's, I mean, that works for me.
Then 6 and 8 in October.
6, 8, and either the 22nd or the 29th. And that second meeting in October would be when we go through the final compilation comments with.
So we'd probably be better to wait till the 29th to give you guys more time to get everything together.
In terms of having it within the draft at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the date in November that it goes?
The
Well, right now.
5th is the first.
5th would be the first.
So are we
We'll have a
meeting a
town-
third time, or just those 2
No,
times? The
just 2.
24th and then the 8th, and then that's it in October.
Well, we're
The open
talking,
house, but that, I'm talking our meeting, so it's just October 8th?
no,
Or
we're
are we doing
potentially
20th?
October 29th as
Okay.
a second meeting in October for us.
Okay, so September 24th, October 8th with the open house on the 6th, and then we're booking the 22nd as well, or
I
not?
think the 29th.
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 Give them a
Yeah.
lunch.
That'll give us a little reading to do some BZA in between, so.
And then whether or not
And
we
then-
want to keep the 5th, which would be our regular, the first Monday, or Wednesday is always our regular schedule, or bump that. I will say the 11th will be our town board meeting.
No, that's the 10th, I had my dates wrong.
No, I think it's Veterans Day.
Isn't it
Yeah,
Veterans Day?
that's
That's what I was
Might
saying,
be
I
moved.
The 11th.
sorry,
No,
that's what
I
I was just thinking of.
I don't know what we're gonna do in
Go ahead,
November then.
Roxanne.
What do we do in November?
I think if we're having that meeting on the 29th, that it would be really helpful if we could have that document, the drafted document, like a few days ahead of time, so we can read it, because then I think we'll be a lot more efficient at that meeting. So if Jessica thinks that's possible, like to have it by the 25th or 4th for us to be able to read?
Yeah, I could try to make it a point for Highland Planning to get it done by then.
Keep meals posted.
Yeah.
Please. Thank you. I didn't mean that for that to be
So we are gonna keep the November 5th or?
So tentatively, November 5th is what I thought would be your guys' last hearing and recommendation for the town board. Because you guys are going to need that before you can actually start your hearings, I believe.
Yeah, are you gonna cancel and send new invites? Okay.
Yeah,
Because
so-
somehow I don't have the September 24th. Did you send me one?
No,
I
because
don't think
currently
we
it's,
Okay.
yeah.
And I didn't even have today's on my calendar, so I must not be. And I have no further invites, but I did have the invite for last month, so at one point it was on the list.
We'll be on the list.
Okay.
This is, and once we're done, I'll make sure that we have the
Okay.
dates and everything.
I can invite you, Ty, and then you don't have to put it on your calendar, it'll just be there.
And then the 5th. Want to stick to the 5th just to get it done with? And will I say that's our last meeting? Or do I not give everybody scopes up?
No, I think the
mean,
town board's gonna need as much time as we can possibly give them anyway.
Yeah.
Especially
Let's
'cause-
keep it for the 5th now.
Yeah.
If,
It's far enough out, we
Yeah.
can
right,
adjust
if we're
it. But-
starting to panic or,
A question about the plan and like the formatting once you guys are done
Okay.
with scheduling.
I
we
guess
see a
one,
lot of each other.
And then these meetings are, just so we know, our start time and our end time.
It's 5 to 7.
starts at 5. But I'll keep pushing November 5th as your last because again, the town board needs as much time as they can. And when you look at your normal meetings, unless you do a special hearings for these, your last week is probably not going to work because of holidays.
I think all of November is screwed up right now.
No, I mean for December.
Oh, yeah, we never had the last meeting in December.
Okay.
But even November, sometimes we've canceled that, but I don't know what we're gonna do on the 11th. Because the 11th is a holiday. So let's target the 5th. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more meetings together.
So September 24th, October 8th.
Yep.
October 29th.
Yep.
And November 5th.
Yep.
And I will send those out tomorrow.
Like, that's our last meeting, but then like,
You guys are all welcome to come to the town board meetings and
okay,
talk to
that's
us
what I was
about
gonna
it.
say, then like, then what's the process? Like,
Then
how
it goes
long
to
is
the
it for
town
them?
board?
Yeah.
For our review.
Mhm.
And, I mean, we've been reviewing the chapters.
Mhm.
We'll have to
no-
set a public hearing.
Mhm.
So we have to set our own public hearing outside of what this board is doing, or this committee is doing here. And then we'll have to incorporate comments. If there's revisions, we'll have to see. And then we do the seeker determination based off of the recommendations from this committee. And we adopt it. Which that
And that's
process itself could
tentatively-
take 6 weeks, probably with all the requirements for public hearings and notifications and all that. But we can't issue a recommendation, we can't issue a public hearing until we have the recommendation, correct?
It's a question I had to Nate because the last time we had a powwow with him, I posed the question of whether the town board could do kind of what the committee's doing, where you stagger or you open a public hearing and just continue it.
Yeah.
Because if you can, that'd be ideal because
Okay.
you can start working through things, but you won't actually get the final recommendation from this committee until November.
Okay.
Did I miss something on our agenda?
A land use exercise.
We didn't even go through that.
Yeah.
The one?
The
The
new
land
business stuff on the land use.
Yeah, right? So I don't know how we jumped off to meetings, but,
Well, no, that was
Well-
before.
Yeah.
okay. Roxanne, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go soon. If we're starting another whole topic, I don't think I can stay and sit through that, sorry. But I was just wanted to circle back to how we are gonna decide which formatting of the chapter policies, objectives, and goals we're gonna use of the two different types that are here now. We talked about that earlier on, but we don't have a way. I don't know if we're doing that by email or whatever, but we should decide that so they can make them all the same if we still think that's important. And also, I don't favor not having I think the town board should have, I mean, it's up to the town board, obviously, but the final document that they're considering adopting for the public hearing, not like some ongoing thing. I don't know, I guess we'll hear from the lawyer, but on other things we've done in the past that were like this, we were always told you need to have, the final document so it doesn't get challenged later. And I think that's a good idea because people then aren't confused, but just my opinion. Thanks.
But your first question is, how are we gonna decide which format we're gonna use? Because we haven't actually done that yet. So of those two formats that we have seen, how do we decide which one we like better? Or have we decided that already in your mind, Jessica?
So are we talking about our inventory, or are we talking about like the transportation example that we were talking about, of how it's content but not, okay. So I thought we came to the consensus that it would just be goals, objectives, policies, and that interpretation would just be taken out or put into an inventory or something like that, if it makes sense.
So the way
Because I feel
the way the goals and the way the community well-being and some of those chapters, you said two different people wrote the chapters, so that format, is that what you're saying?
So, yeah, so like community
Okay.
well-being as an example. Yeah, that's what it's gonna look like.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure we decided that or talked about it again.
So to me, just it looks like community well-being and like the natural resources, chapter 6, are a similar format, which I believe is what we're looking for.
But yeah, I don't know how we decide. I don't know how we decide on the two different ones, which one we want. But if everyone feels community well-being in the format,
Okay, yeah, I think this is where we were, like, yes, I think we did agree to that. She's gone. But I think Roxanne, I made the point, and I think that's where I was getting the language. So I think we changed, it wasn't like laws, right? Did we remove laws? So not laws and guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it would be that format, just not with that terminology. Although,
Yeah.
oh, we're talking about different stuff? Okay, what are we talking about?
So I
guess
think
know.
in the chapters,
Yeah,
like that we just, which one?
yeah. Right, didn't we talk about that?
We
Like,
did.
We didn't want to call them laws.
yeah,
and stuff.
Roxanne did bring that up about
Because they're not
making
really
sure we
laws.
don't say that they're
Yeah.
laws because they're not laws.
Yeah. But I think that definitely was the format we were talking about last time. For sure.
So is everyone content with that, or people have thoughts or comments about that? And Roxanne, if you're looking at the community well-being element, if they all kind of, if they're modeled after that, is that
Yeah, that was just the question, because that one looks one way and then the transportation and the other look a different way. So, yeah, I think that's fine. It's a little clearer without, all the text, and it gets incorporated, like Jessica said. I just think they should all be consistent. That's all.
Yeah, right. So and you had mentioned deciding which one they're gonna look, and so she's recommending the community well-being element format.
I mean, it seems
So
fine
I
if
don't know.
everybody's good with that. Yeah.
I mean, it looks fine to me, but.
It's fine by me.
I agree.
Agreed.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I do have a question. So one of the things Niels had sent out yesterday, Highland Planning's draft design, and for them to move as fast as possible to get you like a draft of everything that's been released. I want to know, did you guys need to provide feedback on this of like the design? And if so, how many days? Also, right now we have inventory sections in each element that's been released to the public within each element. However, are those inventory sections going to be taken out to then be included in like the front end of the of the plan?
An inventory meaning like a title page or?
No, so like if you're at community well-being right now, there is inventory and analysis of community services existing conditions.
That. Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted to have some clarity on, is this inventory section staying, or is that going to the front end of this plan? Because then that'll change, them putting this together as like a first draft, if that makes sense. So that's also something to think about hopefully soon.
So you want to get feedback from folks, and you want to do that today?
Relatively soon. I mean,
Like, do I do that as part of this meeting? Do you want to do it outside of the meeting, or how do you want to do that?
I mean, if you guys look through this right now and you're like, yeah, cool, the design looks great, then that's good. And I think then too, the other important part is to just determine where these inventory chapters, or not chapters, subsections of each element is going to go, either in the front, or are we keeping it within each chapter?
Are you referencing a conversation we had? Because I feel like I also remember this. I think we liked each chapter to have the inventory and analysis, but I think like maybe the transportation one or one of them had like a lot that we thought could be pulled out and in the front part, like, right? So like a overall thing. Is that what we were talking about? Is that what you're referring to? Because I don't think we ever talked about removing the inventory and analysis from each chapter.
Yeah, I think the inventory is useful. It's an important thing to have on record.
Okay, I misinterpreted it.
There was a table at one point
Yes.
that
had,
we
like,
wanted
this-
to move, that we moved. But I think the inventory we were keeping.
So like everything that we see
Maybe
here
Roxanne
is good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Angelina, where's that, sorry, Jessica, yeah, where's that document at you're just looking at?
This one.
So it's in the that SharePoint folder.
PDF.
The community,
It's called design.
yeah, it should be community somewhere.
No, it's in the overall. Sorry.
Roxanne, go ahead while we're
Oh, design
trying
map,
to
all right,
find.
thank you.
We definitely talked about that a lot, like in the beginning when the chapters were all really long. With Angelina, I don't really understand what has happened with the transition and the gap in the notes from what we had, but and I thought that we had decided that we thought we should have like an existing conditions kind of chapter, like introduction chapter that had a lot of the stuff that was basically I guess what is being called inventory existing conditions up front, so that it made the chapters more focused on the topic and not so long, and also so that it didn't have to repeat some things several times. And that is definitely what I have in my notes from my recollection, but it could just be because I thought that made more sense and wrote it down. But I know we had conversations with Angelina about that. So maybe she's got notes somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, but I didn't think that we were gonna remove that section. I thought there was still gonna be some of it, but to like lessen it, there was gonna be an overarching one where maybe some of the chapters like overlapped, right? Having existing conditions up front. Or did we confirm that we were gonna remove that section altogether? I don't remember if we did or not.
I mean, to me, I think the way it's going, we have an introduction, why this chapter is what it is, what's happened since the 2009 comp plan, if anything, if it wasn't applicable. Not that nothing happened, that we didn't have it back then. Then we talked about the guidelines, and then we go into existing conditions that, I mean, for community well-being is 7 pages, and then we go into the goals and objectives. In the middle too, there's actually challenges. So we talk about existing conditions, challenges, and then projected needs. I think that fits right before the goals and policies, but that's just my opinion.
I would agree, and keep out redundancies. Anything that we can find redundancies, move that into your intro
And we might end
chapter.
up seeing that, we won't see that until we get to the whole
I think that's Mickey. That's Mickey.
Yes, it is. That's my comment, that's not in team or in the Ulysses, so.
Yeah, I have actually downloaded to get the draft right now.
There's a couple of photos.
Like the flower, yeah, there's a bunch of photos that are not.
They're not in the town, they're down in Ithaca.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I know,
which,
there's a bunch.
they're beautiful
It's-
photos, and I hate taking it out,
No,
because I wanna take credit for it, but it's
I-
not.
they should
That's a
remember.
survey.
But
Yeah.
they
No, I
just
tried
didn't
to
make
vote it.
sense.
That's what they're looking
That's
at.
what I do too.
I wondered
I
about
think
Keegan
they're
Nature
looking-
Center also.
I think they're looking at the
I-
We're looking at the design
I
draft.
was just looking
Oh, I
at
know,
that.
but still, it's
I
like,
know.
Oh, wait, sorry.
oh, can we save Keegan Nature Center? I mean, what are we doing?
Because the
You know?
building hasn't been open all season, I don't think.
No, it has, that's very overgrown.
We'll
There.
do
That's
this-
the other day.
I think too, I would highly encourage you guys to even just
Because I
do
think
your
there's
own
some-
photos and submit them. And that way, because unfortunately, like for me, I was like, well, we gotta get this started, and it was hard to, I did go through the poll. There was only a couple who voted, and so I took everything that was like a positive yes, and I gave it to Highland. Definitely tell me which photos are not in Ulysses, but I do think, to get a lot of those pretty great comp plan photos, just include and send photos to Neil's.
Do you feel like you need more photos? Because I do take photos all the time, so I've probably got 1,000 photos of various
think
places in Ulysses.
The only one in the draft that's not is the Mickey roof window.
And the flowers.
And the flowers, I wasn't sure
that
if
go
you wanted the
with
be kind in the
Yeah, from
background.
that jewelry place down there in the corner of
Yeah. I wasn't sure
89.
about the be kind one.
Yeah.
So I think so that's for climate change and resiliency. We can think of a photo.
Do you want a deer photo? I have lots of like wildlife photos.
Who like submitted those though?
Oh, just want some.
But yeah, I think
There's a
overall,
lot
I
of,
like the design.
Literally,
It's
I do
clean
too.
and
This
it's
is
flows in
like
terms of.
it's,
I do like the design.
I do too. It's got a nice feel to it.
yeah,
This is this Ithaca?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
jewel box.
yeah, like that. So that's like.
And the only
I think
reason
that's
the only reason I knew that was
Yeah.
It's
because
just
there
weird.
was a
It's like,
second
oh, it's like
photo
Crown
that
Fruit and Willow Creek.
showed the signs.
I don't know about Cayuga Nature Center. I want to include it, but
I'd like
What?
to include it as
But why?
something we save.
Why?
Yeah,
But the
exactly.
picture is
That's what I was
sad.
like, but why?
The picture is.
That's like
I do think
20 years from
pictures.
now, that might not be there. It might be something. It might not be there
It'll
next
be
year.
historic building.
Might be gone completely.
I don't know.
Well,
I
if anybody hasn't taken the poll, please go and look at the photos that were submitted. These came from folks in the public.
Yeah.
So my
That were
email
submitted.
address,
That
but
is attached
I
to
could-
pictures.
I can't do the polls.
Um,
So if I do like a night.
And if there's other ones that you guys have, do you want me to send them to you, Jessica? Do you want us to
Yeah.
email or?
Honestly, what may be good is we have the SharePoint set up, so I can create
Just
a photos
Okay.
folder and just drop in.
There is that nice image of the bee, and we are bee city.
We're
USA.
Bee City.
So that wouldn't be a
That
bad
could be
one.
climate change.
That wouldn't be a bad one to throw in there, in my humble opinion.
You know, I like the
Sort of
bee
tied in.
photo. I voted against it only because I thought it didn't look very good.
I
It
know, I
was
wasn't
a
sure.
little blurry or something.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was like a clip art or stock photo either, so I didn't realize that people had submitted those, so. I'm
Well, I
gonna-
think all of these came from folks.
Awesome. And there you go.
I took a bee photo today.
Did you submit?
Aw.
And then I think my only other question is, do we have to ask permission for people?
So that was part of the whole outreach to people is like, please submit your photos. And then if the town opts to use their photos, they'd get recognition. So every time we have a photo or.
Well, I
like a
meant more
page-
like the people in the photos.
There's people in
Like
the
there's
photos?
6
The
people
one.
in with a chicken barbecue.
The well-being
Oh.
one.
Yeah, I figured
That's the
since it
question
was
for
there
me.
to,
Do we have?
yeah, I thought it was since it was in there that somebody did that due diligence. I would
Yeah.
absolutely imagine you'd have to get
Yeah, I would
permission to put
hope so.
somebody's face in there.
I can ask those.
I would think.
Yeah,
I meant Nate. I'm asking Nate.
I
Sorry.
actually voted against any photo that clearly showed someone's face or like their butt. There's a few photos where I just thought it was weird because you could see like a buttock sticking up in the
right.
air or something. But you might be able to
We don't
crop
need
the
that.
photo and use part of it.
All right. So let's get this wrapped up by Friday. Okay. Because Highland needs to. So
So you're just asking for, well, I mean, I've already voted, so if you're voted, you're done.
yeah,
Um,
I love that barn photo. Can we get that barn photo?
Which, the big, in the beginning.
I think it's this part.
Oh,
Maybe it's just not a clear, I think it's just not a clear, it's
Yeah.
more like it's just not pixels,
Um,
good pixels. Anyways.
We are gonna have to do that in the next meeting.
That's-
I don't know how we're just gonna get started.
Okay.
Did folks? There are the printouts for the maps. If anybody didn't get them at the last meeting. I mean, it's 7/17.
And they're also on SharePoint site too.
Do we want to get into this discussion now?
Well, I
really need to go.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, I had blocked until 8 o'clock thinking when we talked last time, we were like, well, we're doing this for 3 hours, but I will happily not do this for 3 hours. If we can put that to the next meeting.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Okay.
the next thing here is the preliminary review of the land use element and future land use map workshop. So what happens to that?
If you don't do it today, you really need to do it at the next meeting because then you have your open house. And hopefully you have at least a consensus by the open house. You're gonna have to put it that way because
We have
that's part of the public open house.
So our next meeting is the 24th.
24th. And I don't know, we charged you last month with doing a little exercise. I don't know if any of you have gone through that yet. But if not, please do that up through the 24th.
To drive
The
around.
drive
What
around.
was the-
Around it.
Look at the
I've
land
already
use
marked up.
maps, the ag data, the county data for what's actually used. So you see, you know, I'll call one out. So there is a existing, there's many cases of this, but there is a parcel that I, as a planner, would consider to be light industrial because it is a junkyard. But the county or the town has consistently recognized it as an agricultural priority area and zoned it as agriculture, which is not accurate.
Roxanne, we're just talking introductions on land use. We're not gonna do the land use exercise now if you have to go, just letting you know.
And there's a similar one with cars. Cars is also that way. SureSafe is also designated as a ag priority area. So there's a lot of incorrect data. So the challenge here is to look what's existing, see what the town should be in the next 10 to 20 years, and make those recommendations, you know, for future land use map.
Did you bring up the graded special districts?
Yeah.
Development?
They're gone.
To help kind of tie it
I
down
mean-
together, and I'm gonna borrow a minute or so here. We had Kim's group
I had one of those.
put together all the, from their data you know, the land use and that sort of stuff. And then I went through and added the current zoning. So I marked in the zoning areas, what's already currently designated as, you know, like this stuff here, this is the residential and that. So I put all that together on here. This is one, I'll leave it in here in the room, so if you get desperate, you could stop by. At least it gives you a good look at the whole town in one shot and see what's where.
That's a nice visual.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, that's why I took advantage of Kim's offer, and her group put it together for us. And there are a few odd ones in here, like right up in here. This is Salo, shows up as like a residential area rather than, you know, the park.
So
But
we've shared this digitally or no?
We have these maps, not that one, but they're not too far.
this map, I can certainly get to Neil's. I
We
think
can
I
just
already
take a
have.
picture of it.
Electronically, the base map behind this, it won't have the overlay of the current zoning and that sort of stuff put on there. But I'll forward it to Neil's. I've got it electronically there, so you guys, because it gives you a chance to look at the whole town in one shot.
Okay,
Thank you.
so
I
thank
think
you
I
for that.
already provided it to your group. I gave it to Angelina some time back, and if it didn't get to you, I'll just have Neil's forward it to you, and that, so you can see what we're talking about, because it allows you to capture the whole town and see pretty well.
Yeah.
Where the ag data comes in is.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
if there's mistakes, that's the kind of stuff we want to know about. If you're familiar with a specific area.
Niels. Oh, sorry.
I'm just
Go.
not
Yeah.
sure about the one this evening, and I didn't realize there was that much vacant spot there. Maybe I think there is, I'm not sure.
all right, thank you for that, Carl. So is there anything else we need to discuss about the land use
I think
element or
just
the maps before we move on?
quick clarification. So the current land use maps, and then we have current future land use maps. Current land use maps are what currently, like right now, if you walk out the county or wherever the data source is, says is the use of that land.
Right.
The current future land use map is what? What
That
we see, or this is what's from
What-
2009?
That's the 2009 comp plan.
Okay. So this is what in 2009,
If it's almost all green,
the writers
that's the
of that
2009.
comp plan
Wanted to see
thought
now.
that the future would be.
Yeah.
So what is our then task to change the 2009 future land use map? Like, what is ultimately our goal gonna be coming out of this?
So yeah, when the town adopts a new comp plan, that 2009 map is just history, right? Part of the future, or part of the land use element is that land use map, the
Okay.
future land use map. So those go together.
So this is what we have now. This
Yes.
is what we wanna focus on, what we wanna see in the future.
Correct.
So when I'm looking at it's the
That's
current,
the one that we want to work.
This is
Yeah.
what we have the flexibility to change.
and I'm sorry, is that the one called the current Flumwood
Yes.
Legend?
Yeah, because it's almost all, that light green
It
is,
was, but I just want to
Okay.
make sure, because I was looking.
is
for it
ag
a while.
priority, and it really causes problems to have essentially every bit of land in the town, except for a little bit right around the village, designated as ag priority, no matter what it's been
I
forever.
have it at home.
So by using the current, seeing what's current, our goal is then we're gonna update this.
And if you haven't taken a look at the maps yet on their SharePoint site, I asked them to do quadrants to make it easier, because you can scroll in. So each one, for each map, it starts in the northwest, or sorry, northwest to northeast to southwest to southeast.
It's
So
very
we're all
helpful to
making-
look at them printed.
So we're all making
Districts
comments in the
become
same.
Transitional commercial,
We can do what we want.
Part of
because I
the
don't see
discussion.
them identified.
They're not called out.
There is no future
There-
land use map yet. That's what the
Yeah, we're-
workshop is for.
Right, we have to create a future. But we're
So that
creating
the
it
one
based
where
off
the 2009, which they
Land
thought.
use, it's not zoning. So the current future land use is the 2009.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's no development districts because it's not zoning, it's land use.
Yeah.
So the version you want comments on is which one? Current flum,
2009.
current land
2009.
use. Well, am I in the wrong folder? Current flum with legend, current land use property.
Current
map,
flum,
Current flum, the last one, just current flum.
current flum, current future land use map.
So what I will also do, I think I asked this last time, I'll put together a spreadsheet as a working template to help you guys with, to go through to see the changes, like what's actually existing, what data shows, what the last land use map is, what your zoning is, and then what you think it should be.
Okay.
What has priority, land use or zoning?
Zoning, okay, so future land use map overarches zoning. Zoning should only come from your future land use map. Like,
So you determine the land use and then you set the zoning to that.
right, your
theory.
zoning, a zoning change should never contradict your future land use map. But unfortunately, there are cases where it has.
Shocking.
Okay, so if you're, just so we're all making comments on the same thing, that would be super. Anything else on that? Okay. So Niels, you have here the next steps for the next meeting. I don't even know if any of this is really,
So the continued hearing will be on the environmental and natural resources element and the climate change and resiliency element. We should have a draft of part 1 of the full environmental assessment form, along with introductory chapter. So that's part of your work as well, along with the future land use map and land use element. Those 3 things.
is that it? You want to add a couple other things? Okay. Does anyone have a quick member report? Last order of business is to approve our past minutes. So did everybody get to see the minutes?
Yes.
Can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I
Or
will
do we have any
motion-
corrections? I guess I need to say, do we, anybody have any fixes? Roxanne? Okay, go ahead,
I will motion to approve.
Allison.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yeah. I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. You survived.
Aye.